This one's double feeding back, so I can feed breakers to feed relays, because I'm going to fill up all the breaker outlets that are inside that one, so I needed one for extra. Then this is the light wire, so we will have to make a whip that goes back and forth and doubles back to be able to hook the lights up. Then we got this bundle, which is heading over to here and feeding out to all of our different pumps and the heater. So we'll have to decipher the colors of the wires on that one. Shouldn't be too bad because I think the electrician did it right. Maybe some of it. But he ended up using double black on some of this. So I'll have to hook wires up and shoot voltage down and test power. But it does look like a few of these I'll be able to identify though. Like, the short one is ran in yellow, so that should be the yellow bundle right there. Then we've got red, but I think we had more red over there. Purple. One shade of blue. And it's sweeping in there, down there, up to that. So those ones I can decipher, no problem. These are the ones I'm going to have to send mystery power to decipher which whips those are coming out of. Go with those two. It's the cleaner pump. Now I'm bringing these wires from these breakers up into these relays. Then I'll finish all my hot wires inside this panel. Moving right along. our high voltage. Now we're just going to work on low voltage side. Just a couple little quick connections over here. Test out. I have it to where one relay is going to turn on both of the cleaner pumps at the same time, and one relay is going to turn on both of the jet pumps at the same time. I can independentize them if I want to or need to, but I'm trying to limit all the auxiliaries that we're using so that we can get the most out of the automation. Away. Go hit the main real quick, and then we'll start to see a couple things come to light. Decipher that a little bit. Now let's see if the lights all turn on.
Bingo. We have lights.
That was that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Both of the cleaner pumps are going to turn on at the same time no matter what. So what I'm going to do is instead of doing two panels, I did where I combined the two into one relay. So I'm only using 4 total relays right now to power all of this equipment, because the filter pumps don't need relays, so they're wired hot to the breakers. Yeah. Both filter pumps are going to turn on at the same time, both cleaner pumps are going to turn on at the same time, both jet pumps are going to turn on at the same time. So with the filter pumps, my plan is, I might change it, I'm not 100% on it yet, is I'm going to use both of them as pump address 1. And then so they both think that they're the same pump. So then when the automation system turns it on, I'm only having to do one schedule for the filter pump, one schedule for the cleaner pump, as opposed to doing 4 total schedules just for those items. So a lot of people don't think of it like that, but I just have an engineer brain, so I break it down and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can make that work. You just got to understand how electricity flows and then get comfortable with it. Waterfall pump into there, wire up the rest of these pumps, wire up the heater, then I can get all my electrical stuff out of here and then start painting everything. So the next things we're going to do is mount the JVAs, the automatic valve actuators. We're going to drill in the temp sensor, run the communication wires for both of the pumps and the heater, and then program. There's not terribly much left to do, just some tedious stuff, and get all the new valve covers and valve O-rings. There are quite a bit of valves. All right, so we're gonna mount our first JVA. This one's gonna be the return side. Go ahead and mount this one down, then we'll mount our suction down, then we're gonna run our wires over to the panel, wire this up into the board. And this is what switches you from pool to spa mode through the push of the button with the app. So right here we have our spa side of the return manifold, and then we have our pool side of the return manifold. So when you press spa, it closes off the pool, sends it to the spa, vice versa with the suction. So that's how we're able to isolate the water and get it to turn with the app. Whenever you're tightening these down, I get right to snug and then just give it a kind of little quarter turn, and that's all the torque you really need on it. Do our suction valve.
Advise tightening with a screw gun?
No, I don't ever do the Jandy valves. When I'm loosening the screws out of them, I'll use a drill gun. But when you're tightening them, it's so easy to over torque it with the drill, and then you get a split down the body of the valve, and there's no fixing that. You got to cut it out and replace it at that point. So there's certain things where a lot of guys will use it, and they get lucky and don't have it, break or crack. I've just throughout the years of my experience, I've had too many cracks, so I try to prevent any kind of extra work for myself. So I'd rather take the extra 20 seconds with the screwdriver versus the drill and save myself time, headache, and money. The path we're going to take is just underneath all the piping, and then I will zip tie them together. Alright, tuck up that behind this guy. Reach back through the back. Push this one through. Now, each one of these sockets is labeled. You got intake, return, cleaner, and solar. This is going to be for our suction, which is the intake. So we're going to go ahead and plug into the first socket right there. Now we'll grab our return wire. And into the return socket. Pull the slack. So now we got those. We're not going to use the other two options, but because this one all has independent pumps for like water feature and stuff like that. But if you had jets or waterfall that operate off of your filtration pump, you can hook up the extra JVAs to turn valves for water features, etc. You can control up to 4 with the AquaLink system. On the standard board, there's expansion boards where you can do 8, 12, 16, however many you're looking for the system. Now we'll go ahead and do the air sensor. Definitely cut off a lot of this excess from this one. This is just reading air temperature. I like to do this one in the back. And then you fish it up and pull it all the way snug to the bottom of the panel. And the reason I like to get it all the way in the back like that, it's kind of concealed, so it's actually reading true ambient air temperature. If you have it dangling too far down and the sun's beating on it, you're going to get a way higher temperature reading than you're actually seeing. So when you tuck it back there, it gets the true ambient air temperature. And they're fairly accurate. Now we're going to do the water temperature sensor. For this one, you drill into the piping, and then they give you the hose clamp that you wrap around it, tighten down to get it snug with a water tight seal right here with this O-ring. This is what reads the water temperature through the app and tells the heater to turn on or turn off, or just give you what your current water temperature is at. So we'll drill the hole into the outlet pipe. We got our 3/8 drill bit. That's the proper size to drill out for the temp sensor. Where I like to put it is just on the pump outlet, in between the outlet of the pump and the filter inlet. So I'll drill it right into there and then run our cords down. Some people will put it in different locations. Just always make sure you're putting it where the suction water is coming from, not where your heater water returns to. Because if, say for instance, I put it on this pipe, this is going to read the hot water coming out of the heater. So you're going to get an instant reading of like 110 degrees, and the heater's going to start cycling on, off, on, off, on, off, because it thinks that it's already sending hot water through. So always do before heater whenever you're doing your temp sensors. And I like to just go top dead with it, nice and slow. Go ahead and drop in our temp sensor. turn it this way and I'll just tuck the cord back behind the check valve. If I go this way with it, it's going to be running kind of in front of the pump. I like to tuck stuff back so that you have free, clear access to the pump lid. I always try to think of future repair and also for ease of service while I'm doing any kind of installs. So it makes it easier for the homeowners or the pool service technicians to get to everything. And then again, just hand tight and then a little quarter snug. And then once you get the system up and running and we got water running through, we can obviously see if it's leaking. If it is, then we'll retighten it down, reseat it. But 99% of the time you're all good after just that. Air and water sensors. Now we'll look at running our communication wires for the IntelliFlow 3 and the communication wire for the heater. I'm going to try to take every wire, even the communication wires for the pumps, around this front way to keep our wires in the same path, and then I'll zip tie them all together once we get them all ran.
Your communication cable going to the box.
Tuck that over there. And we'll run our communication wire for the pumps. So we're doing two. Instead of doing independent one wire here running it and one wire here and running it, what I do is I actually go from one pump to the other pump, then take the communication wire and run it all the way over to the panel. So you're just kind of daisy chaining it together. They don't need independent cables ran. When you assign the pump address, it automatically detects that, because at the board, if you ran all the wires over the board, you're going to have all those wires stuffed into the box, and then you're going to have multiple wires stuck into your 4-pin connectors. So this way it kind of saves you an extra set of wiring. Once I bring that up, I like to do a little knot. Nothing too crazy. Something like that. And what that does is prevents, if somebody steps on the wire, pulls on the wire, it's not going to rip out of the spot right there. This will be color coded, so it'll have it underneath the 4-pin. You got black, green, yellow, red. We're only using green and yellow, so we'll attach those accordingly. We're using the same comm wire. We'll zip tie this to the conduit to make it nice. Make our cut real quick. That conduit, hole, get up our slack, and that'll be our comm wire for our pump. Pull it out over that side just so I can decipher. So this one's going to be the heater, this one's going to be for the pump, and we got our air temperature sensor and our water temperature sensor. So we'll get all that plugged into the board, then we'll mount our antenna and wire up our antenna. All right, now we got our iAquaLink 3.0 antenna. This one's got a very far range. The thing I like about the AquaLink system is I only have to do the antenna outside. I don't have to mount anything on the inside of the property. So I can do all my programming, connecting, syncing, everything outside at the equipment. So we already got our holes drilled with anchors in there. So we're gonna go ahead and mount this, and we'll get the wires brought up into the panel. I like to get rid of a lot of the excess wire. I don't like coiling up so much inside the panel. So I'll kind of do a little base measurement. That looks about good. Cut the excess off. And then for this one, depending on the panel you use, right here we used a 6614 LD, so this is the bigger panel. You're able to kind of fish down, and I'll just kind of go at a diagonal pace in the wires. And I can usually get it to drop out on the bottom side. And that just kind of tucks our wire a little bit better, so it's not dangling underneath the panel or anything like that. Drop it down behind all these wires. The slack. Alright, so that's going to be our antenna wire. All the relays are hooked up. Now this is a raised spa, so the spillway is the spa is gonna spill over into the pool. So you got a series of dip switches over here, and on the inside door panel, it'll give you the diagram for this. So right here it tells you where the dip switches would be, in what position will turn it into a different mode for the board functions. So right here we want spa spillover, which is going to be number 3. So we want to toggle the number 3 dip switch so that when we press aux 3, the spillway comes on for the spa. So we'll look over here. We'll go down to 1, 2, 3, and just click that over to the right. And now whenever we hit auxiliary 3 and we'll label it spillway, the spillway will actually turn on for the hot tub. Now we set the home positions on the valves. You got toggle switches under here. In the middle it's off. One direction will make it go one way, the other will make it go the other way. So right now what we want to do is we want to put them in their home position. So right now I'm shutting off the spa. So shut off spa, and now we shut off the spa. So this is our pool, that's our spa, this is our pool, that's our spa. So now I got those set in the home position. So now anytime we put the turn on the spa, the valves are going to turn into their proper locations. Grab the pin connectors and we'll hook up all this low voltage into the board. So this one 10-pin connector is $115. So we want to make sure that we don't damage those or lose those ever. This is off of a different board. So on this you got 2 of the red 4-pin connectors available, black 8-pin or 6-pin, I'm sorry, and then your green 10-pin. The black 6-pin connector is going to be for a spa side controller. We don't have one of those at this property. And then you get your 2 4 red pin connectors. It's going to be for your antenna and for your pumps or anything else that communicates the system. And then on the green 10-pin, it's labeled underneath. You got your spare, freeze air, water, solar, low voltage heater. So that's where we're going to wire up everything. So we'll put our temp sensor onto the 8 and 7. Then we're going to put the water sensor on the 6 and the 5, and then the low voltage heater on the 1 and the 2. This was our air sensor. We definitely don't need that much for the air sensor. So go ahead and trim that back. So air and water was going to be 7 and 8. Water temperature sensor. This one there's not a ton of slack, so I'll just coil that up inside the box. That'll be on our 5 and 6. We had our heater. Heater was this guy right here. Same scenario, there's not too terribly much excess on there, so we'll keep it. And this will be on 1, 2. So we got those connections made. We'll grab our 4-pin, this one right here. This is our antenna wire. Go ahead and strip this one down. And we got the color coding underneath here. It goes green, yellow, black, red. So we'll face it that way, and we'll be green, yellow, black, red. do the comm wire for the pump. Now this one, if you're going to a Pentair automation system, you would follow the color coding. You would go green to green, yellow to yellow. On this particular, because we're doing Pentair and Teleflow over to a Jandy automation system, we'll do it a little bit different. So yellow is 2, black is 3, green is number 1. So we're only going to use the yellow and black, which are going to be the 2 middle ones. So it'll be green to yellow and yellow to black. So we'll go green on the number 3 and then yellow on 2, and that's how it'll communicate properly. So all those are done. Now we'll plug them into our board. Cables, push them up through here. We'll come back around. Go ahead and plug in our 10 pin. Then we'll just fold the wires back. Same with our 4 pin. Antenna. Tuck them back. And Teleflow communication. Tuck it back. So now when I jumped that, daisy chained the boards together for the Teleflow for the communication wire, that prevented us from having to stick a whole nother section of wires into the red 4-pin connector. And then, like I said, left less wires coiled up inside the box. So that is an option that's available. You can, if you have multiple variable speeds, you can daisy chain them together. Back gripping the wires. So there is all of our wires for the low voltage. And that's that. And then once the Wi-Fi is up and running at the property, the pool's full, we'll come back, put the heads in the pool, adjust all of our valves to make sure that the deck jets are spitting where they would need to be, and then we'll do all the programming for the automation system, make sure that that's all online and going. So just a few finishing touches when we come back, but everything else is complete now.